Today, as we gather here, let us reflect on the love and guidance that has brought us together. Let us celebrate not only our achievements, but also the unity and faith that binds us as a community. Together, let us lift our voice in gratitude and joy, recognizing the divine presence that illuminates our path. Mr. Speaker, we pray that the Lord continues to bless our leader, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, granting him strength, wisdom, and foresight to lead this country and our people. May the Lord fill him with courage to conquer the challenges ahead as he leads our people in an ever-changing world. I continue to express gratitude to the 6,148 constituents who on September 3rd placed their X beside the bell and voted for a new vision, new direction, a new future for Westmoreland Western. Mr. Speaker, I want to take a moment to acknowledge members from Peggy Barry Primary, the principal, the acting principal, and teachers who journey across the country to listen to their Member of Parliament's presentation. I'd also like to acknowledge members of my management team who are also here, Juliet and Stacy, my secretary, all here to support. To my family, to my friends, to my well-wishers, thank you for your consistent commitment, motivation, and support. To my executive, to my constituency warriors, and to the management team, my council caretakers, and to the hard-working political workers of Westmoreland Western, to my two newly minted councillors, Councillor Garfield James and Ian Miles, I thank you. During the February 26, 2024 local government elections, Mr. Garfield James and Ian Miles were targeted and underwent tremendous attacks from the opposition. But God don't like ugly. When the final ballots were counted, both men were victorious and are now as symbols of the opposition's failure to attract and retain talent. Mr. Speaker, the government cannot work alone. Members of Parliament cannot work alone. We work with key stakeholders who are committed to the development of Jamaica. Thanks to the Negril Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club of Negril, Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, our churches, schools, and civic groups, we will continue to work in partnership for the development of a new Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, we believe that a partnership with the people is necessary to move Westmoreland Western into a glorious future where the citizens have tangible jobs to provide for themselves and their families. Mr. Speaker, after 30 years of hopelessness, we are restoring hope in Westmoreland Western, West-West, where opportunities are many, where hard work and productivity results in prosperity for all. A constituency where the workforce is educated, skilled, and where every citizen can enjoy a high standard of living. Mr. Speaker, I turn the House's attention to infrastructure. The roads in Westmoreland Western has been neglected for the greater part of 30 years. And even with our efforts in the last 4 years to repair this neglect, the constituency of West-West will tell you that it's a hard road to travel and a mighty long way to go. Mr. Speaker, over the past 12 years, with key actions of our Prime Minister who allocated $40 million to each constituency, several roadways were identified for repair and were rehabilitated. These include Little London to Maysmere, Fullersfield to Alma, sections of Glasgow, and sections of Western Negril. Mr. Speaker, there is more good news. The seawall at Church Corner in Western Negril and sections of roadway at Sandra's Bar along West End were both rehabilitated. Mr. Speaker, despite our efforts, our roadways such as Tollgate to Grangehill, Grangehill to Glasgow, Grangehill to Little London, Negril to Parish Border, and Tollgate to Locust Street are still in a deplorable condition and has been in this state for more than 30 years. Mr. Speaker, taxi operators, commuters, and pedestrians has often taken on protest action to express their heightened level of frustration with our road conditions. It is not uncommon to receive on a daily basis over 30 calls and messages from road users complaining to their Member of Parliament about the state of their roadways. Mr. Speaker, there is hope. Our visionary Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, has introduced the new Road Infrastructure Improvement Program, the shared prosperity through accelerated improvement of our roadway network, the SPARK program. The SPARK program is set to significantly improve the road infrastructure, driving growth, development, and prosperity in communities across Jamaica.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to report to this Honourable House and to my constituents that under the SPARK program, some $2 billion were allocated to the parish of Westmoreland for our roadway repairs. Roads targeted: Tollgate to Grangeville, Grangeville to Glasgow, Barham to Bath Mountain, Negril roundabout to parish border, Grangeville to Little London, and Negril roundabout to Big Ridge. Mr. Speaker, after 2 successful consultations hosted by CDF, in which our councillors were invited, the National Works Agency has indicated that the procurement process has started for parochial roads under Phase 1. In Friendship Division, Wild Pine, Townhead, and Blackness. In Grangeville Division, Geneva Ghetto and Crowder. In Little London Division, Shantytown, Paul Island, and Camp Savannah Mountain. In Sheffield, Revival, and Villa Cage Road in Negril. Mr. Speaker,
After 30 years of neglect.
there is hope. There is hope for our roads, hope for our people, and hope for Jamaica.
Yes.
This government remains the only beacon of hope for the people of Jamaica.
That's on point. That's a fact.
Mr. Speaker, I want to renew my calls made during last year's presentation for the reintroduction of small road repair teams in each parish to address the urgent need for emergency patching on our roadways. It has become often too commonplace to see small groups of dedicated individuals mixing concrete and filling holes along our streets, working tirelessly to improve our infrastructure. These local road repair teams will play a critical role in maintaining our roadways and ensuring the safety of commuters and our community. By empowering the National Works Agency with these repair teams, we will not only enhance our commuting experience, but also provide meaningful jobs within our communities. I urge our Minister of Works to seriously consider the initiative, as investing in our roads is investing in the future of Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, road traffic accidents continues to be a significant challenge in Westmoreland and Western, placing massive burden on our health services. The Sablamar General Public Hospital is facing overwhelming numbers of emergency cases, particularly motorcycle accidents. The situation not only strains our medical resources, but also highlights the urgent need to improve safety measures for our motorcycle users. Mr. Speaker, we are facing a crisis with stray animals in the parish, particularly cows. Mr. Speaker, we have strays from as far as Western Hanover, which poses a serious threat to road users and significantly contribute to traffic accidents. It is crucial that we address this issue through community awareness and responsible animal control measures. I renew my call to the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation and the Mayor of Sablamar to move with urgency in establishing an animal pound for the parish. Mr. Speaker, the Mayor has acknowledged on several occasions and is on record and has stated he and his peers in the West are mulling over the creation of a central animal pound. Westmoreland has been waiting for a dedicated animal pound for many years. This delay not only jeopardizes the future, the safety of road users, but also reflects the dereliction of duty on the part of the municipality to address this ongoing problem. I urge the Mayor to prioritize this initiative, as safety of our road users and the well-being of our community depends on it. Mr. Speaker, I'm also calling on the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, to actively start identifying owners of these animals, to include them in training in livestock rearing and care, and also to tag their animals for safety and security. Tagging of animals will go a far way in reducing predatory larceny and also helps the police in identifying animals when there's a theft. Mr. Speaker, let's turn our attention to water. The cries of the people of Westmoreland, Western, is continuous, and it grows louder each and every day. Of the 5 electoral divisions, 4 divisions, Friendship, Grange, Little London, and sections of Sheffield are supplied by the Bullstead treatment plant, while the tourist town of Negril is supplied by the Logwood treatment plant in Hanover. Mr. Speaker, with the entire constituency relying on these two treatment plants, it is clear that any disturbance or disruption at either Bullstead or Logwood facilities poses significant challenges to the residents of Westmoreland Western. Mr. Speaker, our constituents, businesses, and communities endure great suffering during the drought which they experienced from January to March of this year. While the parish of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrews, St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, Trelawney, and Hanover all felt the impacts of this drought, Westmoreland and Hanover were the hardest hit, with projections indicating that these two parishes will have a long-term drought conditions up to May 2024. During this period, my constituents, much like the biblical figure Elijah, prayed for rain, seeking relief and hoping for rain to nourish the land. Mr. Speaker, there is a saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. I want to take a moment to place on record my appreciation to, he was then the minister in charge of water, Matissa Muda, Minister Edmund Bartlett, Delano Severite, and the TP-DECO team, who all made time to visit Negril for not just one, but two emergency stakeholder meetings to share plans, actions, and strategies by the government in solving the crisis. Madam Speaker, while we were all working diligently to find solutions to address the pressing water shortage, it was disappointing, but not surprising to see mischief makers hard at work on television, on social media, in newspapers, spreading propaganda and misinformation. These half-truths and outright lies about the government's operation was aimed at undermining our collective effort and sow distrust among the people. Mr. Speaker, their plan failed miserably. It never worked. They say you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Mr. Speaker, those months were indeed very challenging for our constituents. Our people face significant pressure, and many businesses suffer as a result of the water shortage. As their representative, I took action to negotiate and to advocate, and was successful in getting the National Water Commission to increase the number of trucks dispatched to Westmoreland Western. At one point, we had more than 50% of NWC's fleet of trucks dedicated to distributing water in the constituency. It was an extraordinary time. Funds allocated for the trucking of water was quickly exhausted as most catchments, community tanks, and reservoirs were dry. Mr. Speaker, then there was the issue of the water tank. Jaja see them a come, but I am a conqueror. They are coming to accuse I for things I know not about. Yes. They are coming to lock I down and tell I that they're suspicious here. Jaja see them a come, but I am a conqueror. Mr. Speaker, that song resonates very well. Our cultural icon in music. While we work tirelessly to alleviate the immediate hardship faced by our farmers, residents, and businesses, we distributed 650 Rhino black tanks to support farmers. However, during the distribution, 650 gallons, let's say it again. Yeah. A mischief maker who identified himself as the vice president of the People's National Party took it upon himself to create several misleading videos claiming that a car wash next to my Westmoreland Western constituency office had received 10 tanks.
House Leader.
Come in, House Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I ask that the member be granted a further 10 minutes to complete his presentation.
The request is on the floor. Those in favor? Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Speaker, you have another 10 minutes.
Thank you, members. Mr. Speaker, I think it's quite important that I start again, because this is a very valid point. While we work tirelessly to alleviate the immediate hardship faced by our farmers, residents, and businesses, we distributed 650-gallon Rhino black tanks to support our farmers. However, during the distribution efforts, a mischief maker who identified himself as a vice president of the People's National Party took it upon himself to create several misleading videos, claiming that a car wash next to our constituency office had received 10 tanks. Mr. Speaker, as far-fetched as these accusations was, the opposition propaganda machine took it and ran with it. And within a matter of hours, the entire nation was caught up with this made-up story about the distribution of these tanks. It is a stark reminder of how low and how desperate, dishonest, and distasteful they have become. Mr. Speaker, the devil is a liar. Despite their attempts to undermine our work, we remain focused on representing our people and ensuring they receive the hope they need. Mr. Speaker, there is some more good news. On May 28, 2024, resulting from persistent representation and lobbying, our Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, announced a historic water infrastructure investment for Western Jamaica. The project was dubbed Western Water Resilience Program and was aimed at resolving the long-standing issue of water supply in the parishes of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. Mr. Speaker, the Resilience Program was designed and built by Vinci Construction, and I want to pause here for a minute and address the people who are suffering from water shortages, particularly the people from Negril. I want to emphasize the importance of a stable government. A stable government, Mr. Speaker, is necessary to ensure our economy continues to generate the resources for critical investments such as this $160 million investment in water infrastructure. I want to thank the people of Negril for their continued patience and understanding during this very difficult time. And I want to reassure residents that this government is actively working to improve the quality and reliability of your water supply. Mr. Speaker, the government is providing hope and committed to serving the people of Westmoreland, Western, and in Jamaica in ensuring that every citizen has access to portable and reliable water. Mr. Speaker, on July 3rd, 2024, with winds of 140 to 160 miles per hour, Hurricane Beryl made landfall as a Category 5 hurricane in Jamaica, resulting in terrible damages across the country. Parishes such as Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland were the hardest hit. While there wasn't any reports of lives lost, there was major damages to homes, losses to the agriculture sector, and disruption in our economy. Mr. Speaker, I want to express gratitude to Minister Pernell Charles Jr. and his team from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for the tremendous work in identifying some 148 constituents, issuing them with checks ranging from 50,000 to 400,000. Mr. Speaker, this is in addition to the 240 constituents who receive hardware assistance from the constituency office. Mr. Speaker, our utility providers did not perform. One of our major telecom providers' network was down a full 6 hours before the hurricane hit and stayed down 2 weeks after the hurricane hovered over the island. This is unacceptable. Then there was JPS. Oh, JPS. JPS dropped the ball, to say the least. Hurricane Beryl brought to light the fact that our main energy supplier isn't investing in our grid. Over 30 protests erupt across the constituency, with residents calling on JPS to send repair crew to reconnect broken lines and re-erect fallen poles. Mr. Speaker, to make matters worse, JPS closed their parish office in Westmoreland. And after months of outage, customers were hit with a high electricity bill, which was higher than what they paid when they actually had power. Mr. Speaker, I want to express appreciation to Honorable Minister Vaz who during this difficult time post-Beryl answered all the calls from my office and kept a constant communication line open. And I would use this opportunity to call on the OUR to review the service delivery of these utility providers to constituents. Mr. Speaker, we'll speak a little about education. Similar to last year, just under $9 million were spent on education in the constituency over the past 12 months. Under our back-to-school program, $3 million worth of book vouchers were issued to over 900 students, while our annual back-to-school treat took a different form this year. This year, we visited 9 communities in each of the 5 electoral divisions, totaling some 45 back-to-school giveaways. We handed over 2,000 students who received books, backpacks, and stationery items. Mr. Speaker, it was Malcolm X who said, education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Mr. Speaker, let me express gratitude to Minister Favour Williams, who facilitated a $3 million grant which assisted some 20 tertiary students across the constituency. Mr. Speaker, our focus is on empowering our youths. In collaboration with Heart Trust NTA, we conducted a series of recruitment drives, workshops, and training sessions. In the Friendship Division, some 30 youths have been trained and certified, while in Grangeville, some 70 youths are currently undergoing training. Additionally, we have the CARE program benefiting some 20 youths, and the LEAP program supporting another 30 youths. Mr. Speaker, we continue our training activities, and I use this opportunity to invite our young people to contact the constituency office and sign up today. Mr. Speaker, in September 2023, the nation was shaken by a tragic fire in Springfield, Westmoreland, which engulfed the home of 4 children. Adriana Leng, the sole survivor, who suffered burns to 97% of her body, was flown out to the Joseph M. Byrd Still Center in Georgia, where she underwent 26 surgeries, including the amputation of her leg. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the constituency of Westmoreland Western, I'd want to express gratitude to our Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, for providing a 2-bedroom house for Adriana and her father. Hearing Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to note that an additional 5 fire victims in Westmoreland Western who lost their homes are also in line to receive their hope. Mr. Speaker, I would like to draw the House's attention to the issue of climate change. This government prioritizes environmental protection, and as evident of our commitment to several climate change resilient activities. Mr. Speaker, the integrated water land ecosystem management in the Caribbean Small Island Developing State, the IWECA project, was designed to support the rehabilitation of the Negril Great Morass, which is the largest, which compromises 6% of our coastal line. Mr. Speaker, the IWECA project shows our commitment to conservation, and we celebrate the environmental stewardship of the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, who recently announced plans to develop the Negril Royal Palm Reserve as a part of the Negril Environmental Protection Area. Mr. Speaker, discussions are ongoing with various ministries focusing on enhancing the protection of our environmental assets. This includes passing legislation and that will strengthen the Negril Green Island Local Planning Authority to improve approvals and monitoring and enforcement. Mr. Speaker, I'm in full support of Negril becoming an autonomous area and Negalpa becoming its governing body. Mr. Speaker, I would like to turn our attention to Negril. Negril, with its stunning beaches and vibrant spots like Rick's Cafe, is ideally situated to leverage platforms such as Airbnb, Verbo, and HipCamp. As Member of Parliament, I'm committed to enhancing the beautification of our iconic beach town. To spearhead this transformation, I'm seeking to forge partnerships with the JHTA to collaborate with the hoteliers to adopt their verges. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
You will be wrapping up. We ask Speaker, Leader, House Leader, can you answer that?
Mr. Speaker, I ask that we grant the member another 3 minutes to wrap up.
3 minutes.
Speaker, you have 3 minutes in which, not yet, make sure that you're going to wrap up within that time. The request is on the floor. Those in favor? Aye. Those against, ayes have it. Continue.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I will obey. But it's important to speak about the partnership that you're establishing with the JHTA collaborating with hoteliers to adopt the verges outside their properties, planting bougainvilleas and palm trees for beautification. TPDCO with the initiation and construction of bus stops, the beach park, and the redevelopment of the roundabout. The police to increase safety by installing additional CC camera systems across Negril. The Westmoreland Municipal Corporation by implementing street numbering for the Beach Road and West End, along with improved street lighting. The National Works Agency to address the long-standing drainage issue along the Beach Road and realizing the long-awaited dream of a sidewalk on West End. And the National Water Commission by installing additional water storage facility to mitigate the effects of the drought. Together, Mr. Speaker, we can revitalize Negril to ensure it's thriving for future generations. Mr. Speaker, I want to continue the advocacy for the establishment of the traditional license for cannabis farmers. Traditional cannabis farmers need urgent support as the cannabis industry continues to evolve and grow. It is crucial we recognize and support the unique needs of these farmers who have cultivated this crop for generations. Mr. Speaker, cannabis has a rich history in Jamaica, our culture, music, and agricultural practices. Our traditional farmers possess invaluable knowledge and expertise in its cultivation. However, despite their contribution, they have often find themselves at a disadvantage in the current state of the regulatory framework. Many farmers face barriers that hinder their ability to thrive and participate, including limited access to resources. Mr. Speaker, I am in full support of the establishment of a traditional license for cannabis farmers, which will enable them to operate within a regulatory framework and preserve their heritage and practice. Mr. Speaker, there is much more to be said. However, I will end the 2024 State of the Constituency debate by saying we have a lot to be proud of. We have more work to do. And I'm also very proud of what this government has achieved. I am proud of the leadership of our Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, and I continue to ask the people of Westmoreland Western to keep our partnership strong as we work to make Westmoreland Western the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and do business. I thank you. Jagai. Just whip it.
Continue on your path.
Thank you.
Continue on your path. Come on, Westmoreland.
Mr. Speaker.
House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the continuation of the public business, and at this time the Minister of Finance will ask for the approval.
Suspension of the debate.
Before that, I just tell you.